Hello everyone, it's me again, Miss J, Miss Shug, Miss Johnson, whichever one you prefer. But it's me. Today we're going to demonstrate different styles of permanent waving. In this demo, I want to cover the wrapping options that we have for permanent waving, as well as proper setup, some client consultation tips, safety precautions, um, both state board required and personal, and start to finish clean up and disinfecting of our areas. Um, my quote for today: how you practice is how you play. And with that being said, we're going to start off with hand washing. Okay guys, here I am at the hand washing center. If you don't have a designated hand washing area at home or at work or at school, you need to create one. Just a place where everyone goes throughout your day, the start of your day, throughout your day, the end of your day, just to wash your hands properly. With that being said, let's go ahead and wet our hands really, really good, all the way up to our wrists. And you notice I'm wearing my bracelets, so I'm making sure I get in between those really, really good. Okay, now it's nice and wet. I'm going to apply my hand soap. I'm going to lather this up really, really good. Up my wrists, both wrists, in between my bracelets, because like I said, I wear a lot of jewelry. Lock my fingers in together, the back of my hands up to my wrists, my thumb, individual fingers, because I do wear nails. I want to get under my nails really, really good. And this should last for approximately 20 seconds, guys. Really, really good. And get up that wrist real good because of those bracelets. And then I'm going to rinse. Remember, how you practice is how you play. The more you do this, the more you're going to want to do it, guys. And with this COVID-19 virus that we have, and with us working directly with the public, this is our way to protect ourselves, our clients, our friends, our family. And this is throughout the day. Okay, I'm going to turn my water off. I'm going to grab my paper towels and I'm going to dry my hands really, really good. At the start of every day, allow this to be the first thing you do. And we're going to use our hand sanitizers in between our hand washing to help control germs. Okay, on to the next thing. Okay guys, after disposing of the towel that I dried my hands with, I'm here at my workstation and it's time to clean it before I start my day. Here we have two methods of disinfecting our workstation. We have the citrus. Once you spray your citrus on your surface, it has to sit for 3 minutes to be effective. It has to remain wet those 3 minutes that it's set to be effective. This is EPA registered and is also state board approved. Here we have our Barbicide wipes. They too have to remain wet on the surface, but only for 2 minutes. Our Barbicide wipes is what I choose to use in between clients to save the extra minute. It's both effective in between your clients as well as the citrus. I use my citrus at the start of my day when I have a little more time in between my clients, and of course at the end of my day. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my glove on. And this is the start of my day, so I chose to use my citrus. My glove is on because we don't want this to come in contact with the skin, and it's recommended by the manufacturer that you wear a glove when you're using the disinfectants. I'm going to completely spray my station down. I'm going to saturate it really, really good. And I'm going to allow this to sit for 3 minutes. And it smells great and clean too, guys. So for 3 minutes, undisturbed, I'm going to allow this citrus to sit on my workstation to properly disinfect it before I start my day. Remember, how you practice is how you play. Okay guys, I'm back, and I didn't cheat. It sat 3 minutes. I sort of fast forward a little bit. I'm going to take my disposable towel, or you could take a regular towel, and I'm going to wipe my station down dry. Okay guys, now that my station is completely clean, I've now set up my universal supplies on my station. These are the supplies that will remain in place on top of your workstation throughout your work day. Okay? My decontaminated container with my Barbicide, 32 ounces of water to 2 ounces of Barbicide. My contaminated container, this is where my implements will go throughout my day so that I won't have to stop servicing my clients to clean them. So until I get ready to decontaminate them, I'm going to put them in my contaminated container. My water bottle, my hand sanitizer, my first aid kit, and my Barbicide wipes. These are my universal supplies. Now I'm going to take you into proper setup for a permanent wave. Because I know my client desire is to receive a permanent wave today, I'm going to preset my station based on the information that I have so far. I sanitized my hands before I entered my kit to retrieve implements, tools, and products needed for this permanent wave service. For our proper setup, I basically have everything I need. I chose a personal size hand sanitizer that I could keep close to me that wouldn't take up much space. My time clock so I can keep up with the manufacturer's recommended process time. A couple of combs of different sizes. My spatula. My base cream for my client protection. My applicator bottle, my perm of choice and neutralizer, clips, end papers, my rods, which was determined by the description of the curl pattern that my client wants, gloves and extra gloves, cotton for my client protection, and plastic caps for my processing time. If you notice, guys, I have 2 extra towels on my station. The purpose for these towels is because for my perm wrap, just the wrap part only, it only involves a shampoo, which only requires 1 towel, and your shampoo cape. Your chemical will require a second towel. So once I get ready to administer the chemical part of my permanent wave, I will add a second towel. And then I have a towel to give to my client in case the cotton itself is not enough to stop the product from running onto the client's skin. I want them to be able to protect themselves as well. Okay guys, before I go into the demonstration, I wanted to show you a personal safety precaution. Because as you see, I wear a lot of jewelry, and wrapping the hair for your permanent waves don't require that you wear gloves. So at this time, before I even start, I'm going to remove my jewelry for my client's protection and my own. Make sure you put them in a safe place. Now as for my bracelets, it's so many of them, I don't usually remove them. So this is what I do when I have a client. I get some soft fabric. It could be a wristband or whatever that you feel comfortable in. And I basically wrap this over my bracelet. It's really flexible, so it's going to allow me to still do my work sufficiently. And it completely covers my jewelry and keeps me from pulling the client's hair, and I'm still able to work. Free hands. Okay, now for our demonstration. I stated earlier that I wanted to show you a couple different options for wrapping the hair for permanent waves. Those options include basic traditional rectangular wrap, 9 sections, and just a basic wrap. I'm also going to show you examples of our spiral, our brick layer, and our contour wraps. And a couple piggybacks for that extra long hair, you know, where the money goes extra long. My basic setup here is just for the wrap itself. Earlier was the proper setup for a permanent wave, and you will get a little bit more info, step-by-step instructions on how to apply a permanent wave, setup included, processing, manufacturer's instructions, things like that at a later date. But for now, I'm basically just showing you the different methods of wrapping a perm. As I mentioned, contour, bricklayer, spiral, and some piggybacks. Okay, everybody, meet my client. This is Miss Shug. As you can see, I've already pre-shampooed, pre-sectioned, and pre-started my wrap. And I will explain to you what I did, as well as give you a visual on how to wrap in my top sections. But first, I wanted to show you how she's properly draped. I mentioned earlier that for a basic shampoo and just for the wrap alone, because there's no chemical involved, that you only had to use one towel and your plastic or shampoo cape. Okay? But I went ahead and I added my second towel. I want you to see that none of the cape is touching the neck. You have a visual on every single rod that's placed in the hair. The drape is properly secured around her neck, not too tight. I can get a finger in there, but it's going to ensure that no chemical would run down on her clothing or onto her skin. Okay, now let's go to our basic rectangular traditional wrap. As you can see, I've already started my wrap. I left the top section so that I could give you a visual on how I wrap this. Each section was measured off with the rod of choice. The section itself is no longer than the length of my rod, and my subsections are no wider than the width of my rod. This is to ensure that you don't have too many rollers in that section, that it fits just right, because that will alter the curl. As you can see, my bands on my rods are fastened straight across the top of the hair, not too tight. That too could cause breakage if my bands are too tight or not fastened across the top of my rod. Once I start to apply my chemical, that's a safety precaution that we have to take in consideration. As you can see, I've chosen to put the rod pins in to help hold the rods in place to ensure that my bands stay across the top of my rod. Okay guys, let me explain. What I did was my basic 9 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Which will also work if you use 6 sections. It's your preference. Once I got ready to start after sectioning, I actually started in this middle back section. This is also the section from crown to nape that State Board requires you to use upon completion of your hours and services once you get ready to go to State Board for your exam, this is what they require: your middle back section, crown to nape. I started there and I moved on to one side of my side back section, completed that from top of that section to the nape. Same thing on this side, top of that section to the nape. And then I moved on to my side sections. I completed both sides. And now we're at our top section. And I'm going to give you a visual on this section. Okay guys, let's start on our top section. My partings are no wider than the actual width of my rod. So if you pull that section to the side and you place your rod there, your subsection should be no wider than the width of that rod flat on the head. Make my subsection clean, straight partings. And I'm going to pull this hair to the side so that it doesn't flop in her face. Make absolutely sure that you maintain a consistent base throughout your set. That's going to be vital with how your curls actually come out. If you start off base, continue off base or half base or on base. But make sure you stay consistent throughout your wrap. Okay. What I'm going to do now, you see how I have the hair evenly distributed across my subsection? I'm going to place one end wrap on top. I'm still holding that base, guys. I'm going to place my other end wrap on the bottom. The hair is still distributed across the entire end wrap. Okay, I'm going to slide this end wrap all the way up over the ends of the hair. As you can see, her hair is pretty even, but there are going to be times that you're going to have clients that the hair is not so even. End wraps basically serves as to even out our ends, to ensure that we have that perfect curl towards the ends. So end wraps are very important, guys, so keep that in mind. Okay, we have a couple different ways of using our end wraps, but we'll get into those later when we do our demonstration of how to apply a permanent wave. Okay, I'm going to roll this all the way to the scalp. Nice even curl. And I'm going to fasten it across the top of my rod. Okay, I don't want to run the risk of trying to get it tight, and it actually breaks the hair once the chemical is applied. Again, keep this hair nice and moist. Part off my subsection, nice clean parts. It's vital, guys, that you keep control over the hair, that you don't allow it to flop in the client's face. Though there's no chemical on there, you still want to make sure you protect your client at all times. Same base. Going to make sure this hair is nice and wet. end wrap one on top, end wrap two on the bottom. And it's okay to saturate that to make sure it sticks really good, guys, so it's a little bit more to manage and pull up to the ends or over the ends of the hair. As you can see, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this. Ta-da! Miss Shug is finished with her wrap and ready to proceed with her perm. As you can see, I completed my top. The first roller I have coming forward because my client stressed that she likes her hair to sort of have a little bit of volume at the scalp but come toward the front of her face. It's optional, front or back, depending on the desired curl or the desired style for your client. But you see how my bands are nicely fastened across the top. And this is your basic, traditional, 9-section, regular or rectangular perm wrap. Tell them thank you, Miss Shug. Okay, guys, that was our traditional regular rectangular wrap. But remember, I mentioned a few other options. Here's another one. This is our contour. Basic 6 or 9 sections like you usually would, with the exception of our top section. Now my top section is still sectioned off as if I was doing a rectangular or traditional roll, but here's the catch. This is what makes it contour. This is a great perm wrap if they wear bangs or side parts, because what you're basically going to do is, instead of rolling this frontward or backwards, you're going to go heavy side to whichever side they wear their hair part on. You're going to wrap the hair to that heavy side. Stay tuned. Okay, guys. Let's not forget to maintain that base. Whichever base you choose, you want to maintain that base throughout the entire wrap. Bring that end wrap up over the ends. And evenly wrap this hair to the scalp. Still maintaining that base. Fasten my rod across the top. No twisting. And you fasten your rods. And like I said, this is a great wrap for a perm for someone that likes a side part or bangs. Still maintaining that base. Okay. All right, guys, all done. I have my side part, and I rolled or wrapped all of it to the heavy side of my client's hair as desired. Basic 6 or 9 sections, with the exception of your top section, like you would roll it back or forward in your traditional wrap or rectangular wrap. This one you just roll to the side or wrap to the side. And that's our contour. On to the next one, Miss Shug. Okay, guys. Here I have Miss Shug 2. I've divided her hair into 3 sections because I'm only going to show you an example of the bricklayer as well as the piggyback and the spiral. Okay, and like I said earlier, remember the rule, the little tip I gave you, how you practice is how you play. I want you to just continue with practicing your bricklayer spirals, your contours, your rectangular wrapped, as well as the piggyback. Money, 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 money. Here's an example. Okay, guys, I'm starting from my bottom, and I've already pared off a subsection. And this is for my bricklayer wrap, for my perm. No particular sections. I like to work in 4 sections when I'm doing a bricklayer perm, just so that I can have some control over the hair as I wrap. So I put this in 3 sections, like I said before, so that I could just basically give you a visual on how the different wraps look, the different options for your wraps. So our back section, I'm going to do a bricklayer. What I did was dropped this hair down for my subsection. Then I'm going to have a subsection within my subsection. But this subsection is not going to be no wider than the width of my rod. So if I put my rod there, then I know that curl is going to be sufficient because this hair is not parted no wider than the width of my rod. Okay, let's start. Now with your bricklayer, it's just like it sounds, bricklayer. That means all your parts basically offset each other. As if you walked by a wall and saw the bricks, how they've stacked the bricks up to make the wall. That's what your bricklayer should look like. Okay, guys, I got my first roll all set. I brought my second subsection down, and I'm actually subsectioning my subsection. Remember, I said base is very important. My hair is a little bit longer than the Miss Shug one, but we're going to work it out. Okay. Move all the way to the scalp. And though sometimes in your bricklayer, your rod placement will appear as if they were straight in a line. Well, the purpose of your bricklayer is so that all your parts offset each other. So if it appears to be straight in a line, it's okay. Okay. One end wrap top. Another end wrap bottom. And you see I'm holding all this hair at the same degree, same angle. And I'm wrapping to the scalp. smooth, even wrap. Fasten your rod right across the top. You don't want it at the scalp. You don't want to run the risk of the hair breaking once you set your perm or use your chemical. Okay? So this will be our last one in this row. We'll bring down our next row and continue this all the way to the top. A little spray. Slide my end wraps all the way over the ends of the hair. And I'm going to roll to the scalp. No twisting in the bands before I fasten my rod. Okay. Okay guys, I'm almost at the top. Did you beat me there? Still maintaining my base. Still with my two end wraps over the ends of the hair. Even roll with the less tension as possible from ends to scalp. No twisting in my band. I'm going to fasten across the top of that curl. Okay guys, met you at the top. We have a visual. As you can see, I did the back section in Bricklayer where all of my wraps offset each other. Each subsection the same width, the same length, but my rods offset each other as if they were a stack of bricks, one layer after the other. That's a visual on our Bricklayer. Option number 2. Okay, with our spiral, it's actually the vertical placing of your rod on the hair strand. We'll still measure our sections the same way. We don't want our subsections to be no wider than the width of that rod if we put it to the scalp or lay it on the head, okay? Just going to ensure that you have nice even curls. Remember, permanent wave. That means a permanent alteration in the pattern of the hair. So you want to make absolutely sure that all of your rods in the hair is wrapped sufficiently and consistent throughout the entire wrap, okay? All right, we have our strand. With this, you notice I did the 2 top and bottom end wrap application for my rectangular, my contour, and I did the same for my Bricklayer. Well, this time I'm going to bookend 1 end wrap, just like you closing a book on that strand. Completely bring it down to the ends or over the ends of the hair like we did with every other wrap application. But this time I'm going to start at the bottom of my rod and I'm going to gradually walk this hair up this rod. overlapping at times. I want to walk this hair up so that by the time I get to the fastening of this rod, then this top will be on the scalp, okay? Same thing, you don't want to twist the band on your rod. This is going to ensure that the actual curl itself hangs from the scalp down. This is usually done on fairly long hair, sometimes on shorter hair, but with a different rod diameter, of course. Spirals are a little bit more costly than a regular traditional rectangular wrap or brick layer. So money, money, money. Let's go to our next one. Part off my subsection. Place my bookend wrap. Keep that hair saturated. Work from ends, the bottom of my perm rod, and I'm going to walk this hair up so that by the time it gets to the top of this rod, the rod itself will be resting at the scalp. I don't twist my band. I fasten, okay? This right here is just the vertical placement of your perm rod to create your spiral. Okay guys, I've almost reached my top. Hope you're practicing. And I know what you're saying. I can almost hear you now. Miss Shook, don't nobody get perms anymore. But the few that does, and this too is another thing that I can assure you will resurface. Just like the finger waves and the pin curls and all those things that we didn't think was coming back into play. They do. They have their ways of coming back around, so be prepared. Okay? Spiral wrap for your permanent wave. Subsection my hair. Keep my strand saturated with water. Remember, you don't have to wear gloves just to do the wrap. And you could drape with a single towel until you get ready to apply your chemical. And then add your second towel and put your gloves on. All those good safety precautions. Place your rods vertical in the hair. By the time all this hair is wound on the rod, my rod should be right at the scalp, at the very ends of my set. Maintaining the same base so that you'll have some nice even curls. This is a permanent alteration in the hair, guys, so you want to sort of focus a little bit more on how you're holding the hair, how you're parting the hair, things like that. Those are vital contributions to a really good perm. Beat you to the top. Okay guys, Here's an example of our spiral wrap. You basically taking the hair strand from the ends or the bottom of your perm rod, and you're rolling, depending on how long the hair is, it may overlap a little, but you would take that hair strand up to the very top of that rod. And because the base is not really wide, the curls are going to hang. Okay, let's move on to our last and final demo, which is our piggyback. I'm going to do a piggyback rectangular roll, and I'm also going to give you an example of a piggyback spiral. Stay tuned. Okay guys, now on to our piggyback spiral. I've already subsectioned the hair. I'm going to give you two visuals, and this is something I want you to practice, okay? Again, each subsection no wider than the width of my rod selected. And this is usually on extra long hair. I'm going to choose a different size rod so you can actually see, get a better visual on how they are placed in the hair for the piggyback. So for this part of the demonstration, I decided to drop down a couple sizes in diameter, and I'm going with my white rod. So I'm going to remeasure this section off with my new rod selection to make sure it's accurate for the rod I selected. Okay. Alright. Basically, we are going to make sure the hair is good and saturated. We're going to determine our base and smooth it out. You notice how I'm coming halfway to strand? Well, with our piggyback, it's actually placing two rods on one strand. Yeah, two rods on one strand of hair. This is for extra long hair where you don't want a certain curl, or you want an even curl all the way at the bottom. And the reason I say a certain curl is because if I take this one rod with this diameter and I constantly overlap this hair, rolling all the way to the scalp, though this is not a concave rod, it's a straight rod, what's going to happen is as the hair overlap because of its length, I'm not going to have a nice even curl. Okay, so this is where your piggyback come in at. Okay,